Shalom, I'm Rabbi Goldsmith at Temple Beth in Margate, Florida. This week we're going to be reading Parshat Vayishlach, which contains the story of the reuniting of Jacob and Esau after 20 years apart. I recently read a commentary which suggested that Jacob spent much of his youth in the shadow of his brother Esau and was not merely jealous of Esau in the way that we tend to think of jealousy, but that he really wanted in some ways to be Esau. What happens in this portion, however, is that Jacob finally comes into his own. When he spends the evening wrestling with that man who is either an angel or his own conscience, he finally comes to terms with who he is, and he determines that he's okay with who he is. He no longer needs to be Esau. In fact, he so much no longer needs to be Esau that he offers to return the blessing that was given to him from their father by offering Esau a blessing of his own, as well as gifts more than equal to the value of that which he had taken from him in their youth. What happens, however, is we see that Esau had no intention at this point in their lives of enacting any kind of vengeance. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, may his memory be a blessing, actually once surmised that Esau's reaction was the reaction of one who understands that there is nothing here to fight about anymore. Jacob's conflict with Esau was because Jacob didn't know who he himself was and was trying to emulate his brother. Esau recognized that problem, that tension, no longer existed, and so there was no conflict between the men anymore. This is an important lesson for all of us because it reminds us that we need to know who we are in relationship to ourselves. We don't need to try to aspire to be anybody else. We are happiest and best when we are ourselves. And when we do that, when we are confident in ourselves, we reduce the chances for conflict with others because people like to be around people who know who they are. I hope that this makes sense to you, and I wish you and all whom you love Shabbat Shalom.